opposing gloves here. And if you thought we were done with sevens, we're not. We're now going to talk about augmented 7 chords. Ooh, so we just got done talking about diminished. And at this point, I'm going to point out some things, but you should be pretty much used to the fact that these are just imposed chords on top of each other. And so that's why sevens are so freaking cool. So hopefully some of these things are becoming easier for you to deduce. They are not so tough for you to deduce from the past videos. So an augmented 7 chord is pretty easy. First, you just make an augmented chord. So this, in this case, would be G sharp. So we have C, E, G sharp, and then ironically, the 7 is still lowered. So here's a case where you have a flat and a sharp in the same key, because this has to be a 7. If it's not a 7, then the chord is not, it's not a 7 chord anymore. It's something else. It's some weird 6 chord. So this is a case where you would have, my ears are beginning to hurt from the amount of time I've been wearing my headphones. But yeah. So let's really quick talk about some of the options we have available to ourselves with this kind of a chord. So now it's, you see, we're just exhausting our possibilities. So ooh, what would I use this for? How would I use this? Previous videos should reveal things to you. So we have this G augmented. So the augmented chords are kind of interesting because they kind of pull to the 4th. As you can hear, I'm playing a C augmented to a 4th. They pulled to the 4th in the second inversion triad. That's what I'm playing right now. I mean, you could get crazy and make a whole bunch of other things with C major, but they generally pull that direction. So in C, it would pull to an F. And you could add in 9s and seconds and create something that really complex and really kind of something you could think about. Then you have the, on top here, let's look at this. So you have an E, a G sharp, and a B. We don't really have a name for this. It's just crunchy. So if we were, I mean, we do sort of have a name for it. Let's take down, this is the 1, this is a major 3. And then we could say it is a, because normally it's a 5th. We brought the 5th down. So it's a major 3rd with a whole step. I'm not sure what I would call this. Just being real. I'm not sure what I would call this. So the options here are quite interesting though, because you don't need to know what it's called to see where it wants to pull. Because generally things want to pull. This wants to definitely pull up to the major. Like it's just begging for it. But we don't really have a chord for a major with a whole step. If you were to bring this down to B flat down here, this is an interesting deal. So what does this want though? So we could easily get an E major out of this and pull from there. We could go from C. Let's see, we have a C down here. And so we could, so right now our chord sounds like this. So we could go to E major quite easily. So there are various things. Just look at the chords, look at inside, see where it wants to pull. But if you ever come across this, you can use it. C augmented 7. This is not a chord I have sought out. Not yet, at least. So make something cool with it. Drop it in the comments. Tell me what you did. I'm sure later on, as I get into much more advanced theory, it'll come up more often. But most of the stuff I've done with 7s are stuff that I've like pulled out of the 7s myself. Like I showed you before, some of the interesting things. Because this, an augmented will pull to a C, but then we could also take this, and because it doesn't have like a real name, you could go to E major, but we could also pull down, which is an interesting concept, to a diminished, and then pull another flip to a C7, which will pull to an F still. And I mean, the world is your options. If you have any questions about this, let me know. C augmented 7, man. Who knew? Subscribe and have a blessed day. But right here, if I change this to like 5, like just that, we'll change it. Like that's ridiculous already. So just 4, but watch this. 3 doesn't make that big of an impact. 12. Let's bring this down to like 12. Back up. Oh, let's go high. Let's go to 32.